Welcome everybody, it's finally Friday and I'm Jill Blanchette here with the tip for you this week. I'm going to show you a little thing that I learned about heat embossing and using your alcohol markers. So hang on. Hi everybody, today I have a tip around heat embossing and using your alcohol markers. Now I had heard this before and I wasn't sure if I had really heard it or not, so I went searching on the internet and I found a couple different articles that do say if you're heating embossing powder that's colored or metallic, that you do not want to use your alcohol markers and color the image after you've done the heating. What will happen is, they say, I haven't experienced it myself, and if you have or have not, then maybe you could comment and let us know. But the different videos said that the tips of your markers, there's something in a colored or a metallic embossing powder that could ruin the tips of your pens. So the alternative to that, I'll show you in a second, but I also saw a second video that said that if you did color your images in, that the alcohol in the marker would react with the raised up embossed image and could break that down. So you could end up with no embossing powder, raised up image. So I guess if your image is larger and you're going to be coloring a lot over and over and blending and using different colors, you could break the lines down completely and then they would disappear. So that was two things that I found about them. So what they're suggesting that you do is you get out your Stamparatus or your Misty or whatever positioning tool you have and put your paper in. Make sure that you know where you need to line it up, because you will need to put it back in again and line it up. Use your magnets to hold it down, and then you're going to bring a colored ink in. Now I'm going to use the same color that I'm going to color with. Just keep it simple, and depends what color embossing powder you're going to use. It will like blend better, or I think it will anyway. It's going to blend better for me if I'm using a powder or a color that's not going to maybe bleed or show through if I miss the powder in a spot or something. Little flecks, I tend to have them blow off if I don't heat from underneath. And then I get a mess everywhere. So now we've got our image down in our fresh freesia ink. I'm going to move this out of the way. And then now you can color your image. And I'm just going to color a little bit here. And being that it's the same color as my ink, it's going to get harder and harder to see where I colored. But that's all right. Just going to color the little bit of this one flower here. Quickly, not professionally. All right, so I'm just going to do it like that. Now you want to make sure that you give this a little bit of time to dry. Let your ink soak in, or the ink and the alcohol to do its thing, because you're going to bring it back in to your Stamparatus and put it back down in the same spot. And I believe if it's not quite dry, your powder might not stick when you get to the embossing part. So it looks like I'm pretty good there for my lineup. Go ahead and clean your stamp off, clean the ink off. And now you're going to put some Versamark on. Now I did also hear on the videos and read don't know which one it was, if I read it or saw it. They said to be careful with your Versamark pads and your embossing buddy, that you want to make sure that you have put your embossing buddy down and then cleaned your stamp off before you ink it up again with your Versamark, because the embossing powder buddy stuff will transfer to the stamp, which will then transfer to your ink pad, and then the Versamark will stop doing its thing with what it does with it, because it's a different kind of ink, you'll notice. So I'm going to put my embossing buddy down, and then you really, and I might end up showing you, you really want to make sure you cover your whole paper, because any place that the oils from your hands have touched, you're liable to get a splotch of your powder. So let me ink this up and I'll see what we get here. All right. I walked away for a second, so I just want to make sure I got fresh ink on there. We're gonna put some pressure over the stamp. Make sure that we get a good solid image on there. Now we could take it out, and then we can put the powder, the embossing powder on it. Now if you're using clear powder, I understand that this is not an issue. It's just when you're using the colors that they must put something in to make it colored or metallic that they don't do in the clear. Okay, so as you can see, I have a couple spots where my powder's sticking. So I do have my tray. I bought this in the winter holiday mini catalog. The tray, this fun little brush was in there, and a embossing buddy. And so I've just been using this little brush to brush away any little particles, because they will heat up and stick. Even though there's no ink for them, they will stick. And I also stated that I heat now from the bottom for a little bit, just so it doesn't blow this, like the black all over, because it'll blow all over and it will stick there too. So I'm going to go heat this and we'll see what we end up with. All right, it didn't do too bad for me. I was surprised. So here's the end image. And as you can see, it has gone over the lines, and actually it looks way prettier than had I just tried to color it without doing it that way. So, and I didn't blow the powder off. So even though we have the Versamark ink down, sometimes if the powder gets on kind of thick or whatever, if you heat it from the top first, it just blows all over. And so what I've been doing now is I heat from the bottom, and I just go over it quite a few times, and so that I know that everything is heated up and kind of stuck, and then I come up and shoot it from the top and then let it finish doing its thing. So that's my tip for this week. I hope that you learned something new. And if you've never had this issue and you color with your alcohol markers over the colored and metallic embossing powders and don't have any issues, pop it in the comments. Let us know. Or if you do have issues, pop it in the comments. Let us know. Thanks for watching, everybody. Okay, that's it. I hope that you learned a little something from that tip this week. I know I'm not going to press my luck. I'll be back again next week, everybody. You have a great weekend. And happy stamping. Bye-bye.